Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. One of the most popular questions I get asked pretty much all the time is, when is it a good time to buy Bitcoin? Particularly now that we are trading above 100K, people text me, people send me emails, family, friends, should we buy Bitcoin or not? In this video, I'm going to show you what is my short answer. We're going to look into an indicator that sounds funny, but is really powerful. We're talking about the SOPR, if you want. I'm going to tell you where to find it for free on TradingView, on which website they show it as well for free. And then I'm going to show you how I improved on this already great indicator to get amazing entries, not just on the bull market, but if you look on the left-hand side of the chart, you're going to see that even on the bear market, we get amazing entries. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And I'm really hoping that this SOPR is something that you're gonna find useful, incorporate in your arsenal. It is a great tool, not just for swing trading, but as I mentioned, if you want to accumulate and hodl for longer term and just fine tune a lot better your entries, it's really gonna make things different and better for you, hopefully. Alright, introduction. What the hell is SOPR? Let's start with that before we start improving things. Well, this is it. It's the spent output profit ratio that you can find on Bitcoin. You can also find it on other assets. More on that in just a second as well. And as you can see, I'm accessing this data using Bitcoin Magazine Pro, which is a website that is outstanding in value for on-chain technicals, charts on Bitcoin only. I think they also have some for general markets, global liquidity and stuff like that, but primarily this is about Bitcoin. I'm currently logged in and I have a subscription which I do get for free, but I'm pretty sure that if you Google SOPR Bitcoin Magazine Pro, you're gonna land in this page along with many other indicators that they also support for free. What is SOPR? It tracks the profit level of all moved Bitcoins during a given period. It indicates whether sellers are in profit or loss when the transactions take place on the blockchain. So pretty much in a nutshell is if you follow on these big peaks, it means that people are taking tons of profits. They are selling those coins at profit. When we see red, they are selling coins but at a loss. And the way we are visualizing this indicator is just the raw data of that SOPR. So if there's a big spike, that moment there was a sell. To the upside, well, it was in profit. To the downside, it was in a loss. So one strategy that we can focus on is looking at these areas of the price, focusing on the SOPR, and every time that we see an intense sell of coins in a loss, just to say, wow, people were really fearful at that point and they might have had some sort of overreaction. That's kind of the spirit behind using this kind of indicators to time your entries. There is a huge trend for every time that there is those overreactions to one side or to the other side that you get reversals, local tops or local bottoms. For example, in the capitulation period of FTX, the bottom of the recent or 3 years ago bear market in 2023, we can see how much was sold at a loss. People say, I had enough. This is it. I'm done with this crap of Bitcoin. That is the time. That is precisely the time that you buy Bitcoin. You buy it from them. You act like a market maker. And these are your first steps towards not being retail and turning into market maker mindset, or if you want me to translate it, into someone that actually makes profits. Do you want to be part of that 1%? Well, the first small baby step is to do the opposite. So, if you were just buying when there is tons of red and you look away, at least this cycle, and you were buying proportionally to how much they are selling in an overreaction, you will be doing fantastic. So, I ask you straight away, should we be here buying Bitcoin aggressively at the current prices? Look at the chart. It's well in the green at the moment. That means that people are selling at profits. Mildly, not as much as these peaks of here, not as much as these peaks of here, but notice the trend. The biggest selling occurred around here in July 2024 in profits. Those were flagging local tops. Of course, we broke out. We found new range to trade on Bitcoin, and there's some distribution going on in there. And now the distribution is slightly smaller. That is currently the trend. So can you expect now that profit taking are going to take place as high as that? No, there is a decrease, a decline. People start taking profits a little bit earlier. Why is that? We are reaching a top. We are in a topping year, and we are, let's say, May, not halfway through the year, but a little bit well ahead into the year. So expect eventually that they're going to start taking profits. So what's the problem with using just this free option? Well, this free option, you can see that the magnitude of these peaks are very different at different times, at different seasons, right? Bear market are more pronounced, the reds. Bull markets are more pronounced, the greens. So how can we normalize this and get a beautiful picture that just tells us you are at the spot to accumulate, or you are at the spot, at the perfect golden spot to start thinking to decrease your holdings? Okay, are you ready to move to something slightly cooler than just seeing the raw SOPR? And I'm going to start with a third party. Someone else built something that today I was noticing that is dangerously close to the idea that I had. But let's start with the third party. This is the one I'm talking about. Short-term holder SOPR. They filter out the SOPR oscillator data, the raw data, they turn it into an oscillator, and they exclude the long-term holders. We're just going to focus on the short-term holders in this chart. And each of these green bubbles are areas where this particular view of the SOPR data is telling us, hey, dude, start accumulating. People are selling. They are freaking out. They are crying on the streets. This is the best time to accumulate. And I hope that answers the title of the video, because I already can see people saying this is a clickbait video. No, this is the video of how to get started on timing better your entries for hodling. That's it. That's what it delivers. And you can see in here at the bottom of the bear market, buy, 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 and buy. Okay, can it get better than that? Well, yes, you can fine-tune it in confluence with other indicators, but tell me in the comments, if you bought all these points in here, wouldn't you feel already a lot more proud than what you have done so far in this bull market? Let me know that. If you can improve this, good for you. You're probably way better than just the 1%. You're probably 0.0001% of the traders. So let's look at the bear market. Let's do the due diligence in this channel, which is to challenge absolutely everything. And on the bear market, if we extend imaginary this green box into this area, and let's say, can I put a line? Yeah, I get my line there. I'm going to put another line here. Perfect. So below the blue line, which is what they did on the bull market, we can see that we have an entry here. This entry gives an upside of 20% in the bear market. In the stupid bear market, profiting like a boss, again, thanks to the SOPR. In here, up 16%. Whoa, taking longs in the bull market, is that something that is possible? Well, let's time this perfectly there at 20 and 5, upside 20%. There you go. You go to the top end of this box on a bear market, and of course, you cannot wait until you get to red. You have to take profits earlier. You are in a bear market. So are you going to wait until you make 100% up? Nope. Slap yourself. You are in a bear market. Indeed, in a bear market, ideally, you shouldn't be taking any longs. So at the moment, this chart is on CryptoQuant, and it was built by someone else. Unfortunately, I lost track of where is the name of the author. I wanted to give credits, but I just cannot find it anymore. I do have an idea that I built months before I discovered this chart that I just discovered this morning. It caught my attention because I felt like it was a copycat. Now I think it's a fair new approach, decently different from mine. My approach was to use the SOPR directly from TradingView, turn it into an oscillator without doing that filtering of the short-term holders that the CryptoQuant version is doing. By the way, the CryptoQuant version, I'm going to leave a link down in the description. I'm also going to share it on Twitter, Telegram, and Instagram if you guys want to actually copy the chart from that author. in my version, I took advantage that on TradingView, if you go to the symbol BTC_SOPR, you're gonna see that right there, Glassnode has published on a daily basis the raw data for SOPR. And not just that, but they also support other symbols. Ethereum is listed, LTC is listed, and I think that's it from crypto. But that's great already, because by having the SOPR in here, I was able to turn it into an oscillator, apply percentiles, statistics, all these bands in here, and you can see that the performance times the bottom of the market, this correction, that correction, it doesn't trigger in here. That means that with automation, we're not going to get a signal, but we can also visualize the oscillator in case we got really close to a signal and you were looking for an entry, and let's say you want to take a compromise. For example, this area, the price action pinches the band, but just by a millimeter, it doesn't cross it. Therefore, there is no signal here. But if you are observing the oscillator and you see that you're pinching one of the percentile bands, you can call it and say, well, this is a double bottom. I'm still going to add in here and scale up and ride the way up. That is precisely what happened on the 17th of April, where there was also a lot of selling in a loss going on in here. We should have gotten here a signal, but we didn't. But still, you can see it and use it in your own advantage. The indicator also offers sell signals, and you can see the sell signals during the bull market and during the bear market. Starting from 69, it had a huge spike there of people taking profits. So in a nutshell, even in the middle of a bear market, in a bull market, pretty much anywhere across the whole range of Bitcoin, with maybe just one exception, which is this buy that happens here on the 14th of May of 2021, which still, if you have a good strategy and you're good at DCAing, you can DCA this and very quickly be in profit later on. Interestingly, that bad performance didn't happen in the actual bear market, which is actually great. So just as a final summary, the short answer for my question, how do you accumulate in a bear market if you had just one indicator, or if you want a re-entry during a bull market, I will say I will look no further than the SOPR. You know me, I wouldn't just trade this by itself, that's just my personal preference, but as a starting point, if you want to take just one baby step in the right direction, I think this is the answer. So I will leave in the description down below a link to the free data on Bitcoin Magazine, a link to this third-party chart that someone did with the improvement of filtering out just the short-term holders included. And if you use my link to my Patreon page, there is the tab shop, where you can access either option that you prefer. To access my Pine scripts that you can add into TradingView and then engage with the alerts and stuff like that, or if you prefer to use my Telegram charts that do not require an account on TradingView, then on Telegram straight away you can click help Bitcoin and click on this one that says SOPR Oscillator, and after a few seconds you're gonna get a fresh look of the chart in the recent price action. There you go. It produced the chart both for Bitcoin and Ethereum in one go. You can see it in here. So on the go, you can always stay informed. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.